host of the Questioning with Gary podcast, Gary McGee.
That's right, this is the Questioning with Gary podcast. I'm Gary McGee, and today I am joined by comedian Geoffrey Asmus. Geoffrey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. All right, so you're in Chicago right now, is that right?
I am. I do live in Chicago. I moved here about a little over a year ago. I moved from Madison, Wisconsin.
Right, yeah. I wanted to talk about your start in comedy back in Madison. So what was your start like?
Well, Madison is, if you don't know, Madison is a college town. It's where the University of Wisconsin is, one of the biggest colleges in the country, in the United States. It's like the most liberal town in the country, too, progressive town. So that's made it interesting because everyone's very liberal and very, very annoyingly liberal and stuff like that, but which is fine. And Madison also, most people don't know, but they should. It has the best comedy club in the country too, called Comedy Club on State. So we got to perform there a lot. So that was a really cool thing to do at the beginning, just to start out and perform with like big name comedians already.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So how did you start? Did you just have an interest in doing stand-up and you figure you just take your shot at some open mics?
I think my friends really encouraged me to do it. I really didn't watch stand-up comedy at all till I did it. I still don't really watch stand-up comedy. There's an open mic night at the comedy club, and they usually get like 150, 200 people to watch it, which is crazy. It's probably the biggest open mic in the world, honestly. And so I used to go there with my friends just to hang out, and then I thought I might as well do it one time. It took me like 6 months to get the courage up to do it, though. I just finished college, so that was my big thing, is I started doing comedy right after I graduated.
Gotcha. So you said that Madison being a pretty liberal town, did you ever encounter some people who were offended by your jokes? Because at the beginning, a lot of times when comedians start, they're kind of like dirty and they go for like kind of easy, dark jokes. Like, I just remember when I started, I had a really bad joke about the Holocaust, which wasn't funny at all in retrospect, but I thought it was hilarious. And someone like stood up and just yelled at me, "That's not funny," and then just walked out of this small room when there were only 5 people in the room, so 20% of the audience walked out. Wow.
After one. I don't remember what the joke was, but it was very bad and in poor taste. Now I see.
Yeah, I got you. So back when you were in Madison, so you said you didn't really watch any stand-up comedy before that. Do you have any influences just on comedy in general?
Yeah, on comedy in general, I do. I think I don't. Yeah, I never really watched stand-up comedy as a kid, but as far as comedy, The Simpsons is by far my, which is, yeah. I mean, everyone likes The Simpsons, but like I've been obsessed with The Simpsons since I was like a little kid. So I love The Simpsons. They're kind of like political humor but also like, they also have like morals embedded in their humor, which is why I like The Simpsons a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you still watch The Simpsons? I know a lot of people say that they've really gone downhill. Do you still watch it on a regular basis?
No, not really. Yeah, probably not in the last 10. I maybe watched like 1 or 2 episodes a season. It's still funny, but like they set the bar really high at the beginning, and it doesn't equal that anymore. It's not bad. People say it's bad, which I don't agree with. It's still better than almost every other network TV comedy, but it just was so good that by comparison, I guess it's bad. But yeah, they have too many celebrity like appearances. That seems to be their thing now, which is it's kind of a crutch they lean on. But it still has its moments.
Yeah, they've exhausted pretty much everything you could do, so that's probably part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
rehashing
the fact that they're still the fact that they have any ideas left is kind of amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still watch the old episodes probably on every day or every day basis.
So, I want to get back into your stand-up. So, you said
Yeah, you haven't really offended too many people, but have you ever had to deal with a heckler of any sort?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't talk all the time. One, I guess, one specific example. I remember I was at a comedy. I won't name the company, but there was a bachelorette party that's that, which is always a nightmare. But this particular party, they sat in the front row, and they all had cowbells,
Oh.
which they would ring whenever they liked a joke or didn't like a joke, or just for no reason at all, really. But the comedy club never kicked them out, and they just stayed in the front row banging these incredibly loud metal cowbells for the whole show. That was a pretty bad one.
I've heard of stories like that of bachelorette parties going there, and I think the consensus among stand-ups is that it's one of the worst things you could encounter.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a couple of comedy clubs that don't allow bachelor parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, one in Bloomington in particular, they try to not let bachelorette parties come to the shows, which is sweet.
So you're in Chicago now. So what comedy clubs do you go around now?
Chicago isn't as big into comedy. Well, I mean, there are big comedy clubs here. They have the Laugh Factory. There's this group. There's a series of comedy clubs called Zanies, and then there's the Comedy Bar. But Chicago is probably more independent shows, like just comedian-run shows and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of weekly shows that will get like 50 to 100 people to come to them, even though they're just in like a bar or like a improv theater or something. So I do more independent stuff here, yeah.
Right, so you're a sketch group Mean Squad.
Oh, yeah. Glad I mentioned that.
So how'd you get started with that?
Well, my roommates we all moved to Mass. They were in sketch comedy in college, and another one of our friends is like big into, he's studying film in college, so it all just kind of came together. And we've only been doing it for like 2 or 3 months, but every week we've been releasing a sketch pretty regularly. Yeah. It's been a lot of work, but it's been really cool, and I think I'm pretty proud of a lot of the things we've released, actually. It's gone pretty well.
So you record that? Do you perform it on a stage for an audience?
Oh no, we film them to like put on like YouTube or Facebook.
Oh yeah, so it's, okay, cool. So it's floating around online.
Yeah, it's a video sketch. Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
It's
so
more
Mean Squad.
Mean Squad. Yeah, it's maybe more of a conservative sense of humor. Not like sketches, more like Monty Python stuff.
Yeah.
Compared to like exactly that. Not normal.
So I want to go to, you said you did something with Just for Laughs over in Montreal, Canada?
Yep, I was in this year. Just for Laughs in Montreal is like probably the biggest comedy festival in the world. But, and they do a thing every year called New Faces, where they select who they believe may be like the next and it's just from all over the country, and that's like performed ostensibly in front of industry executives or people who are scouting the new talent or whatever in Montreal, and it's a really crazy event. There's hundreds of shows over a week, and you see like Chris Rock, Brian Regan, all the big names in comedy right there. It's a pretty surreal experience. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so how'd you get selected for that?
Usually people like will audition at like comedy clubs, like they'll have auditions at like the Laugh Factory in Chicago or whatever. But I got selected in a weird way. I guess they sometimes like just look up videos on YouTube, and they just saw this video of mine on YouTube, and then they called me, and then we slowly figured it out from there. It was a really not the usual selection process, I don't think, because most people in it are from Los Angeles or New York. I was one of only like 3 or 4 people who weren't from those 2 big cities.
Yeah, so it's
kinda
kind of like a viral star in that sense, huh? That they found you from your online video.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, I put it on Reddit, my video on Reddit, and just randomly it went really well one day, so it got a lot of views or something, like maybe a year ago or so. So yeah, that is really bizarre.
Yeah, so which one of your stand-up jokes has gotten the best reaction from the audience?
Oh, okay. That joke that does the best, the joke that I like performing the best, which I say usually doesn't always do well, but it does pretty well usually. It's kind of hard to explain in this format, but basically I say that I don't masturbate, and that the reason I don't, and that because I don't masturbate, I have a lot of time on my hands, so I know all the capitals of the world, and then the audience will shout out country capitals, and I am usually able to name them and give a lengthy explanation in order to prove that I don't actually masturbate. It doesn't really work that well in this format, but it's pretty fun because you never know what they're going to yell out, and it's pretty. I really like performing that joke.
Yeah, I think that's like a good setup. Say something kind of just if you have an obscure knowledge of something like that, and then get to prove it to the audience in that type of format.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because if I did it and then once or twice they've stumped me, and then the joke kind of falls flat. But I spent a lot of time in high school just looking at world capitals, so usually I know what it is, which is worthless knowledge, but it's fun for comedy, I guess.
Yeah, so all right, so we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, and then after that, I want to go ahead and talk to you about some other thoughts outside of comedy, maybe your thoughts on the upcoming election, if that's all right with you.
Okay, sounds good.
So we'll just take a quick break, and we'll be back after this. Oh, hey everybody, Gary here. I just want to remind you to check out questioningwithgary.com. As you write on questioningwithgary.com, you'll find all the other podcasts, and you'll also find some social media info. Aside from that, you'll see all of our Questioning with Gary videos, including the time when I went to the Trump rally and interviewed some Trump supporters, or the time when I went to Comic-Con and interviewed some nerds. That's right, it's all on questioningwithgary.com, so just head on over. Alright, and we're back, and I am here with comedian Geoffrey Asmus. So, Geoffrey, I want to go a little bit off from some of the comedy and talk to you about your thoughts on the upcoming presidential election.
Okay. This election, I mean, obviously it's been covered for way too long, way too much. Kind of annoying, but I don't know. I'm not really, I don't think I'll probably be, I don't really vote. I don't really believe in what either of the two parties are trying to sell. I guess I was really into Bernie Sanders. I thought he had a fresh new perspective, but that didn't work out. Whether it was fair or not that it didn't work out, I don't really know. Yeah. But I think that Donald Trump is clearly he's a terrible human being, terrible person. He's clearly, if you have to pick, you're not going to pick Donald Trump. But I don't think that Hillary Clinton is really as much better as everyone might be led to believe she is. I think that at the core, they believe in a lot of the same things, like high military budget. Hillary Clinton still believes in the war on drugs, like drone strikes, Israel, supporting Israel. I think a lot of the things they're very similar on, actually.
Yeah, so you as kind of that person who each of the parties are trying to get, you're kind of that person who it doesn't even think they're going to vote. So do you think anything could sway you towards one candidate or the other at this point?
I look at the polls and see who has what the chances of winning are. If it looks like Donald Trump has a decent chance of winning by election day, then I'll vote for Hillary Clinton just because he is, in my opinion, a monstrous, racist, sexist person who I don't want to rule the country. But if it looks like Hillary's going to win, I don't want to have to say that I voted for Hillary Clinton. I think she's a very callous
human being.
Yeah. So you said you were going for Bernie before. I talked to a lot of people who said they were going for Bernie. I think he was, he was kind of like everyone. I think had the most enthusiasm for him, but maybe it was just that the voters didn't show up to the polls, or you were starting to get into. It seemed like some people thought that it was kind of unfair the way the DNC did it.
Yeah, I don't think there was those emails came out that said they were kind of trying to conspire against him, but I think it's more like just the system that they don't let independent voters vote in the primaries. That really screwed him, I think, because a lot of 70% of independent voters would have voted for Bernie Sanders in a lot of those primaries. So it wasn't necessarily a conspiracy against him. It's just that the system is designed so that people who aren't center of the road, people like Hillary Clinton, don't get elected because they don't want someone who's off the beaten path to get elected. So hopefully maybe this will make them change those rules in the future. Should be nice. There was everyone else, there was a lot of enthusiasm for Bernie Sanders, online, in the media. But then when it voted, it turned out that not as many people voted for him. I think it's because people who were going to vote for Hillary Clinton, they're probably not very, I don't know, they're probably not very savvy political people. They're not going to post online about their thoughts. They were just I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton. That's what I've always done. Right. We don't need to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people who identify just as a Democrat, they would definitely vote for Hillary because she is the Democratic establishment right there. So
yeah, exactly. She's who they want to win. Yeah,
absolutely. So you say you don't really vote too often. So did you not vote in the primaries either?
I did vote for Bernie Sanders in the primaries. Yeah, I did. That would be stupid if I said all this and didn't do that. Yeah, I definitely did vote for him. I might have voted. No, I didn't vote. I voted in 2008. I think for Obama. Yeah, I was very into that, but then I grew disillusioned with that pretty quickly. Yeah. But I was into that for a while.
Yeah. So do you think if you were going to vote, so would you say with Gary Johnson as an independent, he's someone who, even though he has no real chance, a lot of people are going to vote for him. Do you think if it were up to between those three, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Gary Johnson, if you were to vote, you would vote for Gary Johnson?
I don't know. I think that he should be. I think that they should allow him to debate. I think it's ridiculous that they don't put him in the debate. Just an example of that they really don't want other choices, but I also I'm not really into libertarianism all that much. Yeah. They have some good ideas, on the war on drugs. I think their, lower military budget is pretty good. But some of the things about how they let the states decide everything, I think could lead to a lot of, racism and sexism. If you let, Mississippi decide how to, segregate their schools, they're probably going to segregate their schools or whatever. States' rights don't always work out sometimes. But I think you should vote for him. I don't like when people say, oh, don't vote for a third party. It's a waste of your vote. But it's not just a vote in the end.
A lot of people who were originally going to vote for Bernie, it's interesting because a lot of people thought they would automatically go to Hillary just because it was the same party. But what you're seeing now is a lot of the Bernie people, either they're voting for Gary Johnson or, interestingly, a lot of them are actually voting for Donald Trump.
Really? I haven't heard that. That makes sense. Yeah, I think that I could see that, I guess. I don't know how my views would turn to Donald Trump, but I could see some people doing that. I think they're just disillusioned with the Democrats, saying they're very progressive and that they're the party of change, but really in the end, just kind of preserving the status quo time after time and not really caring about minorities or anyone lower than the upper middle class. Just disillusionment, probably.
Right, absolutely. I think there were a couple classes of Bernie supporters, and one of them was people who were mainly anti-establishment. So I think a lot of those people are the ones who went to Trump, since Trump, being a complete outsider from politics, he's, in terms of establishment, he's pretty much the exact opposite of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, that is one of his
few redeeming qualities. It is kind of cool isn't the right word, but vaguely refreshing. But also he doesn't have any skills or any knowledge of how to be a politician, which I guess could be good. But in his case, it's not. But it could be good hypothetically, because being a politician usually doesn't carry skills that are necessarily moral or good. But he got bad morals all on his own.
I mean, that's going to be interesting with how the election ends up turning out. But
yeah.
Either way, it'll probably just be more of the same. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. People think it's going to change. That's stupid, naive, I think. But hopefully it does. But I would bet against it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. All right. So I want to talk about back to the comedy. So is there anything you're working on now? Any projects? I know you said about that sketch group. Do you guys put out regular videos? Do you meet up often?
Yep. We try to put out a video every Monday. I'd say probably more like every 3 out of 4 Mondays we'll put out a new video, because the person who films our videos lives an hour or two away, so it's hard to organize. But like this weekend, we're filming 2 new sketches, and I'm trying to think of any other big project. I do stand up like 6 nights a week probably.
Oh, wow.
Or something like. I try to, a combination of open mics and shows.
Right.
I try to get on stage 6 out of 7 nights a week, sometimes 7 nights a week, which is tough, but it's fun. And I have a couple ideas in my head for ideas for new shows, but they're not ready to be implemented yet.
No? You want to give a short pitch of one of them?
Well, me and my roommate, we're thinking of starting we're really into history, and starting a historical themed show where each show is centered on a specific event in history. Like the first one we thought of would be the breakup of the Beatles, and then everyone plays a character from history who took part in that, but you don't necessarily follow what actually happened in the script, but we just improvise what maybe happened in a comedic take on those events, on famous events in history. It would be partially planned, partially improvised. We'll see if that happens.
I would
like
that.
to do that.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
I think it could be. Have we tried what?
Oh, I was going to ask, have you tried doing something like that with your sketch group?
No, we haven't. Well, we briefly recorded a podcast that was on that theme or whatever, so that's what kind of inspired it. It could work as a video. Yeah, it needs to be. We need to figure it out, but yeah, hopefully that'll happen one day. I guess another idea I've had that I'm really into Wikipedia. I read Wikipedia a lot. I don't know why. That's what I do. And I want to do a podcast or show called Drunk Wikipedia, where I just get successfully more drunk and I document the weird tangents I go down in Wikipedia and the things that I find.
Yeah,
Could work.
I was gonna say that the show you were talking about kind of sounded like some variation of that show Drunk History. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it is a little bit like that. Yeah,
so
we wouldn't have the drunk factor, but yeah, we'd have to change it a little bit.
Yeah, so maybe improvise or do what you were talking about over a podcast or audio only, and then later act it out into an actual video.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then edit out what was good or what wasn't good.
Right.
That could work. We kind of had a podcast like that for very briefly.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty fun.
Is it out there anywhere?
I don't think we ever released it. We did 3 or 4, and then for whatever reasons, we all kind of went our separate ways, even though it was enjoyable. Yeah.
So you said you went to a comedy club. So do you go to a comedy club every night?
It's usually not. Well, for open mics, in Chicago at least they're not at comedy clubs.
Right, bars,
more
maybe?
At bars often. Sometimes improv theaters have open mics. Mm-hmm. Honestly, in Chicago, I don't do shows at comedy. I maybe do 2 shows a month at a comedy club. Sometimes I'll go out of town for you do a weekend at a comedy club. You'll do a show Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. I probably do that
2 weekends a month. But usually it's more independent shows, like at like a nice bar or like, I don't know, it's various venues that, like a lot of music venues will let you do comedy at them.
Yeah. So,
and like there'll be like house parties too. We'll do shows too, which are fun.
Yeah, so is your ultimate goal maybe trying to do something with some kind of creative work and make that a career almost, or get some money from that?
Yeah, I guess my goal is to be able to live off of being a stand-up comedian, which is difficult. I'm not there yet. I think in a year or two I could be there. But
oh, really?
And to yeah, we'll see. This summer I was able to make my living just doing comedy, but now in the fall it kind of dried up a little. But yeah, and I want to eventually maybe write for a TV show, or yeah, that's my goal, is to write for a TV show one day.
Yeah, sounds
a lot
good.
of comics gold.
Yeah, you got some good ideas there. You got the resume with the Just for Laugh stuff. It looks like you got some projects. Sounds pretty good. Anyways, thanks a lot for doing this podcast, Geoffrey.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was great.
Absolutely. And do you want to plug anything, your Twitter or anything?
Oh yeah, actually I do have a Twitter, which I try to write a lot of jokes for. It's a stupid handle though. It's at Filthy Son, like dirty, filthy son, SON. So stupid. I need to change it, but that's what it is now.
All right, sounds good. So if you want to check out Geoffrey Asmus, it's at Filthy Son on Twitter. So anyways, for Geoffrey Asmus, this is Gary McGee saying good day, good night, goodbye.